So emotional eating is your comfort zone, your uncomfortable comfort zone. And in order to get to ease and peace around food in your body, you need to understand this. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating. And I wanted to talk about emotional eating being your uncomfortable comfort zone. While we may not realize it, emotional eating is what we tend to go to when life becomes uncomfortable. And emotional eating almost helps us to soothe ourselves from any discomfort and distress that comes up. It helps us to feel more comfortable, but it's also uncomfortable. And by having this coping mechanism, what happens is that we stay stuck in our uncomfortable comfort zone. And so growth is outside of your comfort zone. And so why do we get stuck in these patterns? Why do we get stuck in emotional eating when we don't want to be in it, when we want to get out of it? So if we go back to emotional eating being a coping mechanism, it means that you use it to soothe yourself from any distress, discomfort, or uncomfortable emotions that pop up. And you would have learned to do this when you were a child. So your parents or caregivers, they weren't able to model to you or be with you in your discomfort and distress and get to resolution. They couldn't help you regulate your emotions. They couldn't help you regulate your system. And as children, developmentally, we need that modeling. We need our parents to hold us in this safe container so we can move through our emotions, and we need them to guide us to getting to resolution, to get to the other side where we integrate this information, where we use these emotions to get information about our life. So if this didn't happen, we were left with the discomfort of emotions, and we needed a way to soothe from them, to feel comfortable. And so we would have figured out that food made us feel good. It kind of gave us a dopamine hit, and we started using it as this coping mechanism. So our brain loves efficiency. So over time, it becomes an automatic pattern and it becomes subconscious. And so we keep going to food to help us feel comfortable when we feel discomfort. And so discomfort is not a bad thing. Emotions are not a bad thing. Distress is not a bad thing. It means you're interacting with life. And if you weren't taught how to be with these emotions, you're going to run to food. And that's exactly what's happening here. And so how do we get out of our uncomfortable comfort zone? Because of course, yes, you feel comfortable eating food and you feel soothed in that moment for a small amount of time. It's temporary. And after, you feel all the guilt, all the shame. What did I do? And you feel uncomfortable and you're creating more discomfort, and you might then go towards more food, creating more and more of this vicious cycle. So a big key component of resolving this is going to be learning how to recognize your uncomfortable emotions, to make friends with your emotions, to understand what emotions are, and to know how they feel in your body and learn to move them through your body. Of course, when we're emotional eaters, we tend to go to food. We're triggered into our emotional eating. And so we have to look at our pattern with food. When are we actually emotionally eating? If we don't know our pattern with food, or when we're triggered into emotional eating versus having true hunger, we're going to feel lost. I know in my own experience, when I was struggling with my emotional eating, I felt like I was constantly hungry. I didn't know that part of it was emotional hunger, me going towards food when I was triggered. I just thought I was always hungry. And it wasn't until I learned to discern true from emotional hunger that I realized and could start catching my triggers. And so if you want to start doing that, I have a free guide below called What Are You Truly Hungry For? And so once we're able to catch those triggers, they're not, there's a process to this where you have to learn to nourish yourself and connect to your body. And what I notice with emotional eaters is that it's not like they know everything and know what their body actually needs in terms of nourishment, or what that looks like, or how to connect with their body's needs. That's a learning process so that they can see those true triggers. And when you catch those true triggers, then you have to be willing to explore them. So triggers are the gateway to your evolution. And it's because when you recognize a trigger, you don't point the finger. So if you notice, when we point the finger at someone, one is pointing towards them and three are pointing back to us. We have to look to ourselves within and get to the root of where this trigger was formed. And this is a process of first accepting that you have triggers, accepting that you have emotions, and not thinking something's wrong with you for feeling emotions. And this is a process of learning how to feel emotions in the body, learning to understand that you have emotions and there's nothing wrong with you. This is about taking away those limiting beliefs you have around emotions, thinking something's wrong with you, or you shouldn't be sad, or you should be this way, and really allowing yourself to feel those emotions and accepting them. And while I'm saying this and it sounds like super easy to feel your emotions, if you've had a lot of shame and you have this coping mechanism, it wasn't easy to feel your emotions. It wasn't easy to be with them. And so this is a process. And so when I'm working with clients in the Emotional Eating Evolution program, we are learning to discern true from emotional hunger. We are catching those triggers and we're learning to move them through our body. We're creating a safety. We're creating that container we didn't have from our parents. We can do that for ourselves so that we can move through those emotions, get to the other side, whether that's support from me or you doing the meditations on your own in between sessions, and really learning to be with these emotions in the body, move through them. Because emotions, their language are sensations and there are messages within them. And learning to accept that this is what emotions feel like, getting into the body and knowing that discomfort is part of this process. It feels uncomfortable because you haven't done it very much. You weren't taught that it was comfortable. You weren't taught that it was okay to feel sadness. You weren't taught that it's okay to feel this sensation in your body. It wasn't made safe to you. And so now it feels uncomfortable and your brain, any sign of discomfort, wants to go to food. It wants to escape. And so you have to almost be with yourself and allow yourself to feel that and through an embodied experience, recognize that emotions are sensations, they're in our body, and they're giving us information, and work with the parts of yourself that are limiting you, parts of yourself that were taught that you shouldn't feel this way. And that's a big part of the process inside of the program when I'm working with clients. Of course, finding those triggers, learning to connect to food and your body are key, but learning to accept emotions, because emotions carry information about our life, is also a big part of this. And learning to recognize when we're triggered, because those triggers take us back to an original event that created this pattern. It doesn't mean we don't have emotions in day-to-day life, but a lot of the times those bigger things, they go back to a bigger time in our life and we need to learn to work with them. So this process is really about learning to move through and connect with food, your body, and your emotions. And as you do that, as you move those emotions through your body, you get to ease and peace and confidence. And why is this happening? If we look at this from a nervous system level, when we are in resistance to our emotions, resistance to our experience, that creates stress and restriction and discomfort. And that's what triggers emotional eating. And as we're moving through this process, we're resolving this resistance and we're shifting our nervous system from fight or flight, which is a stress state where we have imbalanced moods, we have digestive issues, poor immunity, we hold on to weight, we have low confidence, low self-esteem, and we're shifting it to rest and digest. And this is the nervous system that is at ease and peace and has that confidence, better digestion, better mood balance, better immunity. You're going to release weight you no longer need. And so this is just a tangible step that's happening so you can embody that ease and peace and confidence. There's a shift in the nervous system as we move through this process and resolve those emotions under our emotional eating. And so this is how we learn to get outside of our comfort zone, our uncomfortable comfort zone, and into growth mode, which is uncomfortable, but it's where we need to be in order to get to ease and peace and confidence. We need to go through that middle layer. So if we stay stuck in our emotional eating, it's uncomfortable, but it's comfortable. And if we want to get to ease and peace, there's this bridge in the middle. And that means we have to move through that discomfort, move through the emotions, the sensations that are unfamiliar to us, and learn to start being safe with them and feeling able to move through them to get to ease and peace and confidence. So we can stay stuck in uncomfortable comfort zone. We're bridging that. We have to move through the discomfort to get to the ease and peace and confidence in the new place that we want to be in. So this is how we work through your emotional eating. It is important to understand that this is part of the process. It's not a magic bullet. It's not a pill. It's not you, just fighting your urges. This is about really having that deep, sustainable change on a body level. And so if you want to find out more on how to do this, or you want to get started, like I mentioned, I have a free guide called What Are You Truly Hungry For? The first step is really to discern true from emotional hunger and catch your triggers. You can find the link below. And if you are curious about what the process looks like, I'll put the link below for my 12-week program, the Emotional Eating Evolution Program. The program is full of support, guidance, the step-by-step process, and the in-depth tools to shift that pattern in the body to get to ease and peace and confidence in a sustainable way. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.